Watching a college wrestler with just minutes left to live. He was suffering from heat exhaustion and desperate for a sip of water. His parents say his coaches refused to help. Here's Lisa Guerrero.
This college athlete is literally dying for a sip of water. He frantically tries to get into this building, but the door is locked. Grant's parents...
I remember being an athlete back in high school. It was one of the best times of my life, being able to be around friends, build that camaraderie, being a part of a team. It's something that I think builds a lot of character. Unfortunately, we're going to take a trip to Kentucky where we have a collegiate athlete who was a wrestler. And unfortunately, he passed away because he was denied having some water. This one hit a little close to home because I remember, being an athlete in high school, those water breaks were everything. But in this particular case, just from my opinion, I think there was a lot of areas where this could have been prevented. And we're going to look at it together. And you guys look at you guys go in the comments, put your thoughts on it. But it's very unfortunate because when you have something that I feel could have been prevented, the proper steps should have been put into place. But it seems like we have some people who showed a lot of neglect, and unfortunately it ended up in this college athlete losing their life. So we'll get the video going and we'll talk about it as we go.
Locked. Grant's parents say he ran to this water fountain in a desperate attempt to find water, but the fountain was bone dry. His body was later found just yards away from here. People tried in vain to give 20-year-old Grant Brace CPR.
911. We had an emergency and I got a student. We found passed out. He's not moving. Is he breathing? No, I don't think so.
A lot of people refer to him as a gentle giant. You know, he was a big guy, kind of intimidating to look at, but so soft and kind like a teddy bear.
Grant's grieving parents, Kyle and Jackie Brace, say their son would still be alive today if only his coaches had let him get a sip of water.
He was begging for water. Guys, help me, please help me.
Can you describe what was going on with Grant in those last moments as he was trying to get through the doors?
It was hot. It was very hot. The surveillance video showed that he was trying to get in the school to get help, wasn't successful, and then was found close to a water fountain on his hands and knees.
An autopsy rule.
So for me, do you know how thirsty you gotta be to be begging for help? And then you're sent to go get water on your own. So I got a couple questions. One, you're in college, you're at practice, you have no water out on the field where you're doing your practice at, right? This poor guy runs back to the school because they make him go get water on his own and the door's locked. And let's keep in mind, they found him by a water fountain. A fountain, not a water fountain where you literally go to get water. This was a fountain, decorations in front of the school because he was trying to get water. There's a lot of questions in there that need to be answered.
Grant's death was preventable. The cause? Exertional heat stroke.
It's inexcusable.
On the day he died, Grant's parents say his coaches made him run up and down this steep hill 7 times. But when Grant became exhausted and begged for a water break, one of his coaches allegedly told him to keep going or he'd be kicked off the team.
They called it Punishment Hill. That's what it was known on campus.
It was a grueling day of practice in 80-degree heat here at the University of the Cumberlands in Kentucky. His friends on the wrestling squad made an effort at giving him water. But according to a wrongful death lawsuit, his 2 coaches yelled Grant needed to get the water himself. That's when the young man struggled to find water, only to face a locked door.
So this is the confusing part. They're outside, they're on Punishment Hill. And listen, if you've played sports, there's things that you go through in any sport where if they're doing something to correct behaviors, they got their own set of punishments that players go through. But there's no water within the vicinity of where they're practicing at. It's 80 degrees outside and there's no water outside. How does that happen? That's where the problem lies.
He was panicked. He clearly needed help. and he wasn't getting help from any of the coaches or any of his teammates.
Grant's parents and their attorney, Jamie Monkus, sued his wrestling coaches, Jordan Countryman and Jake Sinkovitz, and the University of the Cumberlands for wrongful death.
I knew very early on there was no chance this family was going to be silent in talking about what happened to their son, because their main priority was to raise awareness and to tell the story of what happened.
I think the coaches ultimately were responsible.
His heartbroken sister, Kaylee, shared voice memos the family discovered Grant had recorded before he died.
They don't give me a break. They're all constantly on my ass about the littlest things. It's a pretty messed up situation.
In them, she says Grant refers back to the previous season when he was already worried about his coach's alleged abusive behavior.
Grant's daily blog for mom and dad in case something bad were to happen to me or the coaches were mistreating me.
Hearing your brother say, you know, I'm recording these in case something bad were to happen to me, there's no words.
Grant's final words on those recordings.
I'll see you later. Until next time.
But for Grant, there'd never be a next time. The death of a college athlete, and his parents say it's all because he was denied a sip of water.
It's so egregious. It's absolutely disgusting.
Without admitting wrongdoing, the university and Grant's coaches settled a lawsuit with the parents, the school agreeing to pay $14 million. The university also says it will work with an expert to raise awareness about heat-related injuries. Grant's coaches didn't respond to our request for comment.
Yeah, if I was Grant's coaches, I wouldn't respond either. I agree with the sister. I think the coaches are completely responsible. You know that you're in an environment, you're outside, it's hot. There should be water somewhere. And when you have the poor guy, Grant, asking for water, we should have water accessible for him to drink, especially when it's 80 degrees outside. Now, I'm far removed from my days of playing sports, but there was rules put into place to where you had to have water on the field, and you had to have water breaks every so often as practice goes. If you're in Florida, you know it's hot, it's humid, you're out there, you're sweating, you go through it. I remember one time we did forget to fill the water jugs, and it hurt. We ended up going over there to get our water, and everybody attacked the water like bats out of hell. But at some point, there should have been some water somewhere for this, for Grant to be able to get water. That was very preventable in my point of view. And, you know, even though the school agreed to settle out of court for $14 million, it's not enough, because now you have a whole family impacted because they got the loss of a loved one. It's heartbreaking and it's sad. And just for parents who, if you have kids out here playing sports, make sure they got what they need while they're outside in this heat, because it gets hot and you never know when heat stroke is going to come. I've been through it before. I've been through heat exhaustions more times than I would like to even talk about. You got to be prepared for it, especially when you're doing these strenuous activities outside. My heart goes out to Grant's family. But as an ex-athlete, I understand that these coaches, they try to put you in the best position, but sometimes they go too far. And for them to tell Grant that he had to go get water himself is just completely unacceptable. So I agree with the sister. It's the coach's fault. And if I was them, I wouldn't want to talk to anybody either, because they're just going to make it worse for themselves, and rightfully so. So with that being said, I appreciate everybody for tuning into this video. I'll see you on the next one. And go ahead and hit the like button, subscribe, share, and I'll see y'all on the next one. I'm out.